So we are back to INFJ weaknesses, and the next one is getting your feelings hurt easily and taking things too personally. So let's talk about it today. As you probably know about yourself and any other people like us, we are very sensitive people. We feel things very deeply, and if we ever hear any harsh words, either directed, at me or even at someone else in my presence, those harsh words can be felt for days, weeks, sometimes months, and they tend to stick with us. And for me, hurt feelings, if someone hurts my feelings, or if my feelings are hurt even by something that wasn't intentional, or even like something I think may have been to hurt my feelings, and it may not even have been something that was meant to do that. I think I just repeated myself there. Anyway, for me to have hurt feelings and or to get offended or to have someone slight me is felt in my whole body. It's felt like a heartache, like like my chest is hurting, and it's a sadness, and I start having returning feelings of self-doubt. uh, and it doesn't, sometimes it lasts for a few minutes, and sometimes I really have to sit and talk it out, to decide if those feelings are, if they're valid. you know because we can, I can perceive an offense that sometimes isn't even there. I can just decide, or my brain can decide that somebody has hurt my feelings, and if I talk it out with somebody, I find out that it really wasn't something that I should have been hurt over. But I'll tell you a story as an example. As you know, if you've watched other videos, my boys are in cross country, and the high school cross team does what they call team feeds, and that is, the night before a cross meet, the team parents put a meal together, for the kids, so that they can be, carb loaded, so they get the right stuff in their bodies so that they can have good energy for their race. So we sign up to bring certain things, and then, the meal is put on by the parents, and the kids eat, and it's a really cool thing that we do. So I had signed up to bring a portion of this last week's meal, and we have a few kids on our cross team that are gluten free and dairy free. And as a person with celiac disease, gluten free is something that's very easy for me to do. That's how I have to cook all the time. So yeah, I will totally take the gluten free section of the meal. So we were making spaghetti and meatballs, and then I also had signed up to bring a gluten free, dairy free dessert. So, I made the gluten-free pasta, and I made the pasta sauce and brought that. And then I decided, I really want to give these kids a treat. So I'm going to make a gluten-free, dairy-free banana cream pie. And I've made it many times before. It is very, very good. I was super excited because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm sure these kids don't get anything like this. So I had to, and if you've ever made a cream pie, especially like gluten-free or whatever, from scratch, you know that it is kind of, it takes time. And it was, a labor of love. I love to feed people. So I had to go to the store to get the ingredients the night after a cross meet for my younger son. So I was at the grocery store at 8 o'clock at night, and I had to put the pie together in the morning, the next morning before work. So then so I'm super excited. I'm going to bring this pie. These kids are going to just love it. They're going to just devour it. It's so delicious. My family loves it. So I bring the meal, and then the kids don't eat the pie. Not a single one of those gluten-free kids touched my pie. It came home with nobody having eaten any of it. and I was so sad. I, and so this was a perceived slight because, maybe they didn't know what it was. Maybe they weren't in the mood for pie. There were other things that they could have, and maybe they wanted other things more. But to me, I felt it in my heart. I wanted to take my pie, go sit in my car, and cry. I felt so sad. And then by the time I got home, I thought, I am never making a home baked dessert for those kids ever again. I will just go to the store and buy gluten-free cookies or something, then they can eat that. I'm not putting forth all this effort because it hurt my heart so much that they did not eat my pie. Well, now it didn't go to waste because when I brought it home, my family devoured it, and yeah, it was eaten very quickly, so it didn't go to waste. But I really had my feelings hurt by someone not eating something that I made. And you know it wasn't something that was intentional by them. They didn't mean to hurt my feelings by not eating my pie. They just didn't eat it. It's not that big of a deal, but it kind of ruined my whole day. It ruined the my desire to make good things for them. It made me want to stop signing up for things. And I had to talk it over with my husband for about a half an hour because it bothered me so much. And yeah, so that's an example of how something maybe kind of trivial can really affect us so deeply. But let's move on to what I kind of felt led to talk about, how we can deal with this. My husband is a jokester, and I haven't talked about his personality type too much, but he is always, making jokes, cracking jokes, talking funny, trying to make the mood light. He's very entertaining. And sometimes he can say things that hurt my feelings. And for him, he's always like, I'm just joking, I'm just playing, it's no big deal. But sometimes I have to tell him, even though you're not being serious and you're trying to lighten the mood, I can't have you say that to me or about me anymore because it hurts my feelings and it sticks with me for days. So if it's somebody that is close to you that is always saying kind of the same things over and over, you need to tell them, please stop saying that. And if they can't respect that, then you might need to just walk away from them when they're talking like that. Because even if they are just joking and they don't take it seriously, we are very sensitive people. And we, take everything in and feel it to the bottoms of our feet. And you have to just tell them. And we have to remember that not every slight against us or every perceived slight against us is a personal attack on our being. People just say things and they do things and they don't always think things through all the way, because not everyone has like introverted intuition where they think everything out to the end of the earth, and they just do and say things and then they go on with their day. And we have to remember that even though we are incredibly sensitive and we think everything out, not everyone does. So not everyone is coming after you as a personal attack against you. And not everyone is like me. Not everyone is like you. Not everyone feels everything so deeply. And the other part is, we have to remember what God says about us, what God says about you. What he says about me is, you are my child. You are my girl. I will never leave you or forsake you. Even though people disappoint us and people hurt our feelings, God is always going to be there. And he says that we are valuable and we are lovely and he loves us so much and he's never going to leave us. And we are his children. He chases after us. I didn't bring my journal out this time, but there was a little piece in there about, God chases after us like childless parents chase after, an orphan. Like childless parents that want to adopt, they chase after having a child. And that is what God does with us. He chases after us because he wants us to feel loved and to feel precious, because we are loved and precious to Him. I want to talk also about repeating thoughts. You know, when your feelings are hurt very easily, a lot of times you can end up having these repeating thoughts that, you know, no matter what somebody has said to you, and no matter in what way your feelings were hurt, you end up having the same wicked thought patterns. And I'll share some of mine with you. And I can say that several of these things I felt after the pie incident. So I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not really funny, but when you can look back on your thoughts and then realize, like, it was just a pie, it's not that big of a deal, they're teenagers, it's really not that big of a deal, maybe then it's kind of funny. But here's some of the thoughts that I have repeating. I'll read them off my list here. No one really likes you. You are tolerated. You will never fit in, and stop trying so desperately. And, you know, everyone has their own loop of self-defeating wicked thoughts. And I just want to tell you that those are lies of the enemy. Those aren't even things that people say to me. I don't know that anyone's ever said those things to me. They are lies of the enemy. They get whatever someone has said to me that might be harsh, or that I perceive as harsh, gets translated into those statements. And they are lies. And if you have similar lies that are repeating in your head, I want you to say no to them and just say, those are lies of the enemy. I say no to them in Jesus' name. And just cast them off, because they are not true. You know, God says you are loved, you are appreciated, you have precious gifts, and the world needs you. And like I have said in several videos, you know, we need to live and love out of the way we were created. And we are going to get our feelings hurt, because we are very sensitive. And we have to just remember that not everyone is like us. But in the end, God loves us, and He thinks that we are so precious, and that our gifts that He has given us are so wonderful. Have a good week, guys. I can't talk today. Have a good week, guys. Thank you so much for watching.